Good morning, friends and students. I am Debakriti, Assistant Professor English, Narayan Mahavidyalaya, JPU. Today I am going to discuss certain points on William Shakespeare's famous tragedy, Macbeth. First, I would like to throw some light on the performance history. One person, Simon Forman, in 1611, month of April, he pointed out in his book of plays, I repeat the name of the book of plays, that Macbeth definitely had been performed in 1611 at the Globe Theatre, and it also formed a major part since 1606 of King James I's entertainment. However, during those days, the question of alteration became vital. Today, the way we understand copyright or originality did not exactly apply to those plays. Question of alteration remains vital because it is now well known to the scholars that it is two songs of the witches can be found in Middleton's play The Witch. The general assumption is that these songs were originally composed by Middleton, and later on those are included into Macbeth's play. This sounds quite credible because during those days, as I just talked about copyright factor, during those days playwrights used to read works of other playwrights and used to update their own work. So such later incorporation of songs does not seem impossible. There comes another matter. What is so tragic about Macbeth? Beyond doubt, Macbeth had acted monstrously. Now, can a monster be fit for tragedy? Can a monster be a fit subject for tragedy? Perhaps Shakespeare, in this particular play, attempts to address or explore this new possibility. And it is a definite fact that Shakespeare has altered his source to highlight Macbeth's guilt. One thing I would also like to add here, that regarding Macbeth, we can find Raphael Holinshed's chronicle to be one of the major sources of Macbeth. Particularly, when we talk about the supernatural element, the witches are not to be found in Holinshed's chronicle. There were nymphs or fairies which are considered beautiful, whereas these witches are a very peculiar creature, neither totally human, not totally satanic, something obscure. However, the device by which Shakespeare reveals Macbeth's inner world is soliloquy. And at the same time, soliloquy mixed with asides. In drama, if you read Shakespeare's play, you'll find soliloquy, asides. Macbeth's tragedy is due to evocation of irreparable sense of loss, irreversible sense of loss. Truly, I have said that Macbeth acted monstrously. And for monster, one cannot have good feeling, sorry feeling, or feeling at all. But it is a sense of loss which makes Macbeth much human. His later soliloquies reveal a feeling of life wasted rather than fulfilled. Macbeth finds himself so drained of feeling, so utterly incapable of feeling, that even the death of Lady Macbeth fails to touch him. And it is the capacity for despair, I repeat, it is the capacity for despair that makes Macbeth human and allows him to attain the status of tragedy. Macbeth's tragedy is due to his recognition that he has failed in his life as man. Now let me come to the role of supernatural a bit. The role of supernatural is quite conspicuous in this play. Witches, ghosts, visions, all these things comprise the supernatural element. One interesting fact about this play, that in the world of theater, Macbeth is known as a play which brings bad luck to the actors who perform in this play. There is no doubt that Shakespeare gives three witches with ambiguous treatment, and he does not make their nature clean. Similarly, it is unclear if these supernatural creatures, these witches, really hold any power other than that of persuasion. Dramatic use of these witches is related to, for the modern viewers, to the obscure regions of human psyche. In this way, witches can be considered as manifestation of Macbeth's own inordinate ambition and guilt. I need to mention Raphael Holinshed's Chronicle once again a bit, and the fact or those details I just talked about, that in Raphael Holinshed's Chronicle, the story talks of fairies or nymphs which could read future by magic. Now Shakespeare had made changes in the original storyline by bringing witches in place of nymphs. Now why did he do that? Now scholars have guessed that Shakespeare has made such changes, such alterations, in the light of King James I's interest in contemporary witchcraft. Now, Macbeth's guilt has begun when he, for the first time, heard those prophecy by witches. His guilt has begun, and simple involvement of witches, or supernatural for that matter, supernatural elements, adds to his evil doing and treachery. Supernatural becomes just a motivation and catalyst of all actions in this play. Now Banquo, the other valiant general, who also witnessed these witches, Banquo had been killed. And Banquo's ghost appears at the banquet scene. What does this ghost suggest or hint? Banquo's ghost at banquet only reminds the audience the upcoming downfall of Macbeth, and also suggests that Macbeth's intention is to keep the power, to keep the kingship at his hand at all cost, that Macbeth will not step back from now on. Macbeth's second meeting with the witches only further his wrongful judgment. He considers prophecy of witches absolutely correct, word by word, just as he did in the past. But he fails to understand the hidden meaning, and just in this way, the supernatural element has led Macbeth further to his downfall, and thereby becomes a supportive element to Macbeth's tragic action. Students, today I'd like to finish this small lecture by talking about a bit of Lady Macbeth. You see, some light need to be thrown on Lady Macbeth and her suffering. She is equally vulnerable to guilt. After the murder of Duncan, King Duncan, Lady Macbeth is reduced to a madwoman. An audience finds her endlessly trying to wash her hand. The supernatural causes her to see something that is not physically present there, the blood of Duncan. And in sleepwalking scene, famous scene, in the sleepwalking scene, the viewers can notice that various murders affect not only Macbeth but also Lady Macbeth. So thank you, students. I will soon come up with another lecture on Macbeth as well as history of literature. Thank you.